The stars were silent. Too silent. Commander Darius sat in the command chair of the HSS Valor, one of Earth's top warships, narrowed his eyes at the black void outside the viewport. There was no sign of enemy movement, no signal from the Varnak fleet either, and that made him nervous. "Still nothing from the Varnak, sir?" said Lieutenant Arya. Her voice was tight, and she could feel that something was wrong. "They were supposed to be here 2 hours ago," Darius said. "Scan again. Full sweep. Don't trust anything." The crew moved quickly. Fingers tapped across glowing screens. A quiet hum filled the bridge. Outside, in the cold dark of space, the wreckage of a Grox dreadnought floated. It was massive easily, the size of a city. The humans in Varnak had destroyed it together, or so Darius had thought. Now, he wasn't sure. The war against the Grox had been brutal. A year of death, a year of fire. They came from deep space, millions of insect-like beasts in living ships, devouring planets. The only way to stop them was with unity. Humans, the Varnak, the Ceruleans, even the cold-blooded Dravok had joined together. But unity was fragile. Darius stood and walked slowly toward the center of the bridge. "Play back the last message from the Varnak flagship," he ordered. A Holly Madge appeared. The Varnak Admiral Threxen, tall and lizard-like, stood still in the glowing light. "We honor our pact," the Varnak said in a voice like cracked stone. "We will meet you at Grox Point 7. Victory is near, Commander Darius." That was 3 days ago. Now they were gone. Suddenly alarms rang. Red lights flashed. The ship shook. "Contact." "Multiple ships exiting warp," shouted Arya Grox. Darius barked. "No, Varnak. Varnak warships, coming in fast." Darius's heart dropped. On screen, the main view lit up with the image of sleek, sharp Varnak warships surrounding the human fleet. Their weapons were armed. "They've locked weapons on us," another officer screamed. "What the hell are they doing?" Darius growled. "Open a channel." The comms officer shook his head. "They're jamming all frequencies." Outside, light flared. The first shot hit the HSS Sabre, slicing it in half. The explosion was blinding. Then came the storm. Varnak warships opened fire without mercy. Human ships tried to defend, but the attack was too sudden. It's coordinated. On the bridge of the Valar, chaos exploded. Evasive maneuvers. "Down to 42%? We're surrounded." Darius grabbed the chair for balance. "Get us out of here now. Emergency warp jump." "Can't. Warp drive still charging." Another blast rocked the ship. Sparks flew. A crewman screamed as a console exploded. Darius's face hardened. "They were never our allies," he said through gritted teeth. "They just waited for the right time." Outside, the HSS Noble, a support cruiser, was torn apart by Varnak. Missile fire. No escape pods launched. Everyone on board was lost. On the Valor, the crew fought to stay alive. "Weapons ready, sir," shouted Arya. "Target their command ship," Darius said coldly. "I want them to feel this." The Valor's main cannons lit up and fired. The shots slammed into the lead Varnak ship, damaging its engines. For a brief moment, the humans scored. A hit, but there were too many enemies. "We can't hold them off," said Arya. Her voice shook now. "There are at least 12 Varnak ships out there. Divert all power to shields and engines," Darius ordered. "Prep escape pods. Send the fleet-wide message code black." Code black. That meant betrayal. That meant war, as the ship shook again. Darius turned toward the crew. "Listen to me," he said, voice rising above the noise. "We've been betrayed. Varnak have turned on us. We may not survive this fight. But we will not go down silent. We'll warn Earth. We will survive. One day we will make them pay." The crew nodded, fear in their eyes but also fire. Then came the biggest hit yet. The Varnak command ship unleashed its super weapon. A pulse of pure plasma tore through space and slammed into the Valor. The hull screamed. Whole sections of the ship broke apart. Hull breach on decks 5 through 9. Casualties everywhere. Darius gritted his teeth. Launched the data probe. Now a small pod launched from the Valor carrying one thing: the truth, the footage, the scans, the betrayal, everything. Heading straight for Earth? Warp drive ready, shouted the engineer. But we only get one shot. Darius looked around. Only half the crew was still standing. Flames licked the walls. Air hissed from broken pipes. Do it. The Valor jumped, space bent, and tore as the ship vanished, slipping. Into FTL, fleeing from the heart of betrayal. 2 days later, Earth Defense Command, deep orbit the hologram of Darius, played in front of Earth's leaders. His face was burned. His voice was hard. This is Commander Darius of the HSS Valor. The Varnak betrayed us. They destroyed our fleet. This wasn't a mistake. It was a trap. We are at war not with the Groks, but with the ones who stood beside us. Prepare Earth. They're coming. The room fell into stunned silence. Then Admiral Hale stood. She was old, cold, and known across the stars as the Iron Ghost. She looked at the others and said only one thing. Activate Protocol N13. The lights were dim. The air smelled like burning wires. Metal groaned around them. The HSS Valor was barely holding together. Commander Darius wiped blood from his forehead. The bridge was in ruins. Half the consoles were destroyed. Several crew members lay dead. The rest moved in silence, doing their jobs with shaky hands. They had jumped blind without coordinates, without a course just to escape. Status, Darius said. His voice was hoarse, but steady. Lieutenant Arya looked up from her station. We're in the Grillin graveyard, sir. Edge of the Thasser Belt. No friendly ships, no coms. Shields are gone. Life support is failing on 3 decks. Darius nodded, grimly. Perfect place to hide. The Grellin graveyard was a field of old shipwrecks and junk from wars centuries ago. No one came here. It was cursed, they said. Haunted. Darius didn't care. The Varnak would be searching, hunting survivors. And if the Valor sent any signal, they'd be found. They were deep behind enemy lines. He turned to the engineering officer. How long to fix the warp drive? Minimum 2 days, the engineer replied. If we push it, maybe 36 hours. But we'll lose more systems. Darius sighed. Do what you can. Quietly. They had to stay dark. No signals. No emissions. If the Varnak found them here, there would be no second escape. Suddenly, an alert blinked on Arya's console. She froze. Sir? Motion detected. Darius spun toward her.
No?
A small ship. Damaged. Drifting. Looks human. Darius's eyes narrowed. Show me. On screen, a broken scout-class vessel floated between pieces of debris. No lights, no weapons. Barely a functioning engine. Scan it. Reading one life sign. Faint. Very weak. Darius stood. Prep a boarding team. We bring them in quietly. 20 minutes later, Med Bay, HSS Valor, the survivor, lay on a stretcher, covered in burns and frostbite. Her skin was pale, but she was aloe, but she was alive, Darius. Look down at her. Who is she? ID confirms, said Arya. Name's Dr. Ellen Wren, civilian analyst.
Ow.
Darius frowned. Why was she in a scout ship in Grok space? She hasn't spoken yet, still unconscious. As the medics worked, Darius noticed something clutched tightly in her hand. A black data shard, military grade. He gently pulled. It free and slid it into a secure reader. The screen blinked, then a message. Appeared, trust no one. The betrayal was planned. Darius leaned in closer. The file played a short video. Secret meeting. Low resolution. But the audio was clear. The Varnak, the Ceruleans, and even a human admiral. Talking, laughing. We'll let the humans fight the Groks, the Cerulean said. Then, when they're tired, we take Earth. It will be clean, said the Varnak. No more humans to interfere. No more Terran expansion. And the human admirals someone Darius recognized? We use them. Then we bury them. Darius stared at the screen. Jaw clenched. It wasn't just a battlefield betrayal. It was a planned bridge. Hours later, Darius gathered his officers. They planned it from the start, he told them. They never wanted peace. They wanted Earth. Gone. We were pawns. The crew listened in silence. "We're alone out here," he continued. "No way to know who we can trust. But we will get back to Earth. We will deliver this evidence. And then, we make them pay." "What if they find us before we're ready?" asked the engineer. Darius looked out the cracked viewport. "Then, we fight with everything we have." Next morning, the silence of space was broken. "Multiple ships incoming," Darius shouted. Darius rushed to the console. Varnak unknown, not Grox, no IFF signals. "Could be scavengers, or worse. Hide us," Darius ordered. "Power down everything but engines. Drift us into that wreck over there." The Valar slipped behind a massive, derelict, ship-hand old Cerulean battleship, rusted and broken. They turned off their lights. The powered-down weapons held their breath outside. 3 ships entered the graveyard, dark, unmarked. "Predators. They're scanning," said Arya. "They're looking for something. Probably us." "Hold steady," Darius whispered. The enemy ships moved slowly through. The wreck field. One passed right above the Valor. Inside, no one moved. Not even a breath. The ships circled once, and drifted away. Everyone exhaled at once. "We got lucky," Arya said. Darius shook his head. "No, we got time. Don't waste." 36 hours later, the engineer ran to the bridge covered in grease and sweat. "Warp drive is ready, sir. We'll only hold one jump, but it'll get us to the outer rim." Darius nodded. "Do it. Set course for the Torga relay station. We'll send the data from there." The ship powered up quietly, slowly, carefully as the engines roared back to life. Dr. Wren, now conscious but weak, walked onto the bridge. "They'll never stop," she said. "You know that, right? They'll come for Earth next." Darius looked at her. "Then we'll be ready, even. If no one believes you," he turned toward the stars, "then we'll make them believe." The Valor jumped. The message arrived during Earth's darkest hour. Inside, Terran Defense Command. Deep beneath the surface of Greenland, giant screens lit up with red warning lights. Soldiers stood still. Officers stared in silence. On the main screen, a recording played. "This is Commander Darius of the HSS Valor. The Varnak betrayed us. It destroyed the 7th Fleet. The Groks were only part of the problem. Betrayal was planned, years in advance, and not just by the Varnak. Other species, and even humans were involved. Prepare, Earth. We are not safe. They're coming." The video ended, and for a long moment, no one spoke. Then Admiral Hale stood. Her uniform was spotless, her gray hair tied back. She was called the Iron Ghost for a reason. Cold, sharp, unbreakable. She turned toward the central AI command screen and said just 4 words: "Activate Protocol N13." 12 minutes later, Earth's defense black room deep under the polar crust. Behind 20 layers of steel and quantum locks, a machine began to wake. Red lights pulsed. Ancient codes were verified. Dust fell from long-forgotten walls. The protocol, N13. Vault had not been opened in over a century. Now it opened. Inside were data shards, sealed war orders, and the blueprints for Earth's most dangerous idea: what to do if the galaxy turned against humanity. A voice echoed from the room speakers. Protocol N13 confirmed. Earth stands alone. Wrath protocols approved. 3 hours later, Terran Military Command Council, the war room buzzed with quiet fear. Generals and strategists from every nation sat around a glowing round table. A hologram of the galaxy spun in the center, showing recent Varnak attacks. Red zones spread like blood. Admiral Hale spoke first. "The alliance is broken. We're not just losing ships, we're being hunted. We have proof of betrayal by the Varnak, the Ceruleans, and possibly more." The footage from Darius confirms. Someone spoke up. "We're not ready for war with all of them. Our fleets are spread thin. Our colonies will fall if we do nothing." Hale cut in. "That's why Protocol N13 exists." The room grew cold. An old general leaned forward. "You're serious? You want to wake them?" Hale nodded. Yes. It's time to awaken the Wrath Fleet. 3 days later, Europa Moonbase, Zeta, beneath the ice of Europa,
Ow.
where no telescope could see. Massive caverns held giants, hidden here. Forgotten by time and erased from records were the Titan-class Wrath ships designed during the First Contact War, but never used. Too powerful, too dangerous. Built not for defense, but for punishment. Their names were etched in black steel. HSS Judicator, HSS Black Winter, HSSR EVENANT. Passive, each with the firepower to wipe out a continent from orbit. Now, they were waking up. Red lights lit frozen corridors. Turrets unfolded. Engines glowed. Systems hummed to life. Captain Juno, assigned to the Judicator, stood at the bridge rail as power surged back into the ship. "We've been asleep too long," she whispered. An officer beside her nodded. "We're not bringing peace this time." "No," Juno said coldly. "We're bringing wrath." Meanwhile, Outer Rim Torga Relay Station, the HSS Valor, dropped out of warp, barely holding together. The Torga Relay spun in orbit over a frozen asteroid, abandoned but still functional. Commander Darius stood as the bridge lights flickered. "Begin transmission," he said. Lieutenant Arya nodded. Signal locked. Sending full data dump to Earth Command. Took 3 minutes. 3 minutes that felt like a lifetime. Then a soft ping. Confirmed. They received it. Darius leaned back. "Good. Then they know the truth." Behind him, Dr. Ellen Wren stepped forward. Her face was pale, but she stood tall. "There's more," she said. "I decrypted the rest of the shard. It's not just betrayal. The Varnock plan to strike Earth next, with help from the Ceruleans. They want to take Earth's core tech. They want to wipe out every human colony." Darius turned. "How long? Do we have? A month? Maybe less," she said. "They'll hit fast. Hit hard." Darius clenched his fists. "Not if we hit first." Back on Earth, Day 7, after the betrayal, the first Wrath Fleet ships broke the ice of Europa, rising into the dark. Civilian ships paused across the solar system as giant war machines moved across the sky black as night. Silent, terrifying, children cried, veterans saluted. Some just watched in awe. Admiral Hale stood on a platform in low orbit, watching the HSS Black Winter glide past. Its main cannon alone was larger than an office tower. A reporter spoke beside her. "Is this Earth's?" "Answer no," Hale said. "This is Earth's warning." In deep space, a Varnak warlord watched a recording of Earth's Wrath Fleet leaving orbit. His second-in-command turned to him, uneasy. "They're moving," yes, the warlord growled, "and they're not running." The lights dimmed. "They're coming." Silence. That's how it began. Then came the tremors. And finally, the sky broke open. Deep beneath the frozen crust of Europa, ancient hangars split open like the cracking of a world's shell. Out of the icy caves they rose black behemoths, shaped like blades, teeth, and nightmares. The Wrath Fleet had awakened. HSS Judicator, armed with a planet-killer railgun. HSS Black Winter, shielded with neutron plating. HSS Revenant, silent, stealthy, faster than light. And dozens more, Reach One, a monster built not to defend, but to destroy. Hidden for generations by Earth's most secret command, these ships were never part of the Alliance. No alien had ever seen them. Even most humans believed they were myth stories whispered during wartime. But now, they were real, and they were angry. Orbit above Earth from the International Watch Station, civilians looked out the window, gasping. Ships larger than mountains glided through the atmosphere. Blue fire trailed behind their engines. The world watched live broadcasts in disbelief. Some wept, some cheered. All understood the same thing. This was not a fleet made for peace. This was vengeance. On every continent, warning sirens blared. Not because Earth was under attack, but because Earth was preparing to attack. Command deck. HSS Judicator Commander Juno Sarin stood at the edge of the glowing map display. She was once the top war strategist for Earth's defense, but she had gone silent for over a decade. Buried with the Wrath fleet by choice, she trained with machines. She read no news. She waited, and now she was needed. All systems online, her AI officer reported. Weapons calibrated. Hyperdrive synced. No malfunctions? Fleet status? Juno asked. Full strength? 44 Wrath-class ships ready. All captains standing by. Juno's eyes narrowed. Target Varnock, Central Command. Prepare full assault route. We launch in 12 hours. Meanwhile, edge of human space, the HSS Valor limped through the asteroid belt. The ship was barely alive, covered in patchwork repairs and burn marks. But it carried something more important than firepower. It carried truth, Commander. Darius and Dr. Ellen Wren stood together in the strategy room. The holomap showed dozens of blinking red dots. Each one of those is a human colony under threat, Wren said. Some of them have already gone dark. Darius frowned. They're hitting soft targets first. Colonies with families, science outposts, medical convoys. Yes, she said. They want to break morale before they strike Earth. Darius stared at the blinking lights, and we'll hit them. First, harder than they ever imagined. Return to Earth, the final council, the War Council of Earth, met one last time. Inside a secure orbital station, the generals, admirals, and AI minds debated one question. Should the Wrath fleet be unleashed? Without limits? Admiral Hale stood at the center of the room. She didn't speak loudly, but everyone listened. We tried peace. We tried alliances. We trusted the Varnak, the Ceruleans, even a few traitors among ourselves, and they waited till we were weak and stabbed us in the back. No one spoke. Hale continued, her voice cold. We are not launching this fleet to protect Earth. We are launching it to make an example, so that the galaxy remembers. You do not betray humanity and live. Every vote was cast, unanimous. The Wrath fleet was cleared for total galactic retaliation. 12 hours later, launched the Wrath fleet aligned near Saturn's orbit. Giant jump rings spun up, rings so large they surrounded entire ships, humming. With quantum energy inside her ship, Commander Juno gave the final order. All Wrath-class vessels, engage warp drives. Target, Varnak Prime. The fleet vanished in silence. In their place, only glowing scars in space remained. 3 days later, Varnak star system. The Varnak system was known for its twin suns and 6 green planets. It had been untouched by war, protected by fleets and defense satellites, until now. The Wrath fleet arrived in full force, no warnings, no signals, no mercy. The HSS Revenant dropped out of warp inside the Varnak orbital defense net cloaked. It sent one silent command: burn everything. In 1 second, Earth stealth bombers destroyed all 6 orbital satellites. In the next, EMP charges crippled the local defense grid. Then the HSS Judicator fired. Its main cannon unleashed a kinetic projectile the size of a skyscraper at 0.98 light speed. It hit Varnak, its Prime's military command city. The ground didn't shake. It simply disappeared. Over 30,000 enemy officers. Gone. No warning. No chance to escape. The Wrath fleet moved like death itself. Varnak responds. Fleet to late Admiral Crox of the Varnak Navy screamed orders as his command ship rushed back from the outer edge of the system. How did they bypass our sensors? How did they destroy command? A younger officer answered in panic. They're using weapons we've never seen. They're ships they don't match any Earth records. Croc stared at the view screen. He saw Earth ships flying in silent formations. Their hulls black, smooth, terrifying. No emblems, no calcines, just fire. We underestimated them, Crocs whispered. We always did. Groundside Varnak Prime across the surface. Varnak soldiers scrambled to evacuate bunkers. A civilian screamed. Escape shuttles launched by the hundreds. But Earth wasn't aiming at civilians. They aimed at military command, weapons factories, fleet yards, and war labs. Precision strikes. No waste, no hesitation. In orbit, drones broadcast one message. This is justice. For the betrayal at Grox Point 7. For the deaths of the 7th Fleet. For every innocent colony you destroyed. Earth does not forget. Earth does not forgive. End. Of the battle, 6 hours later, by the end of the first strike, half of Varnak Prime's defenses were ash. 4 military moons were shattered. 16 war factories reduced to dust. The Wrath fleet lost 0 ships. They left before the enemy could recover, not out of fear, but to remind the galaxy they could strike again, anytime, anywhere. Aftermath, galactic reaction across the galaxy. Alien news channels broadcast footage of the Varnak devastation. The once powerful Varnak navy had been humiliated. In 6 hours, the Ceruleans called an emergency meeting. The Dravik went silent. Smaller species began begging Earth for peace. Some even offered weapons. Others offered secrets. But Earth ignored them all. This wasn't negotiation. This was a message. HSS Valor. Now repaired Commander Darius stood on the bridge. The ship was stronger now, thanks to upgrades brought by Earth's secret engineers. Varnak Prime is crippled, Arya said. They won't recover soon. Darius nodded. But it's not over, he said. Others helped them. Hid them. Betrayed us quietly. The Ceruleans. The Highborn. Maybe more. He looked out into the stars. We hunt them next. Beside him, Dr. Wren stepped forward. We started this war defending ourselves, Darius answered without blinking. Now we finish it, teaching the galaxy one rule. No one betrays humanity. The galactic broadcast network was hijacked. Every major species Dravok, Cerulean, Kaleri, even the traitorous Varnak saw the same message. A towering Cerulean diplomat, pale blue and elegant, stood in front of a golden flag. His voice was calm, cold, fake. To the Terran people, this war is now over. Surrender your Wrath fleet, disband your military, lay down your weapons, and some of your kind may live. Continue fighting, and Earth will burn. The message repeated every hour across thousands of planets. In the past, humanity might have paused, sent a response, maybe even negotiated, but not this time. Earth didn't answer. They launched on the far side of the galaxy in the Rackery system. Cerulean command ships floated calmly in orbit. Their leaders laughed as they reviewed the broadcast. They'll break, said High Speaker Aloran. Humans always fall back to peace when they lose ground. But something strange happened. No diplomatic reply, no radio signal, just a single red light on their long-range scanners, a ripple in space. Then, Wrath fleet arrived, and with it came judgment. Strike on Rackery. For the unbreakable fortress Rackery 4 was thought to be untouchable, fortified for 200 years. Covered in shields, planetary turrets, and orbital cannons, the Ceruleans called it the Wall of the Galaxy. The Wrath fleet didn't care. They didn't send warnings. They didn't jam comms. They just attacked. HSS Revenant dropped stealth charges. That turned the night sky black. HSS Black Winter disabled the planetary shield with a single EMP rail shot, and then the Judicator fired. A perfect shot into the heart of the fortress through 12 kilometers of rock and steel. One blast. One crater. One collapsed city. The Ceruleans never expected it because they had believed the lie. Humans will beg when they're scared. But Earth wasn't scared anymore. Earth was furious. Galactic Council Emergency Callan, the floating city of Zephyr. The Galactic Council met in chaos. They've attacked 5 systems in 12 days. One Dravok ambassador shouted they bypassed our early warning grid, yelled a Cerulean guard. They destroyed the Varnak war factories. And then, silence. The screen behind them displayed still frames, burning worlds. Shattered fleets, human warships hovering like ghosts above once mighty capitals. One line of data blinked red across the Council's screen. No demands. No negotiations. No response. A Kalarian general trembled. We pushed them too far. Svalar, strike command. Commander Darius stood in front of his officers. The room was quiet. Out of fear, out of focus. The Ceruleans thought we'd hesitate. Darius said they thought we'd beg, thought we'd ask for mercy. He stepped closer to the center holotable. They don't understand that humans don't beg. We endure, we adapt. When pushed, we destroy. The table lit up with red icons. Each one marked a collaborator stronghold. Next target, Velish. Prime, a major supply line. Cerulean owned. Highborn protected. Lots of innocent traffic nearby. Arya frowned. Collateral. Darius nodded once. We strike clean. No civilians. Just the ones who made this war. Ren spoke softly. They're going to paint us as monsters anyway. Darius looked at her, then let them. They know one truth. You don't betray humanity and walk away. Strike on Velish Primin, the velvet silence of deep space. HSS, Shadowfall, a stealth war cruiser, arrived in orbit over Velish Prime. Below, wealthy collaborators dined in golden towers. They believed the war wouldn't reach them until it did. The Wrath fleet didn't strike the cities. They targeted infrastructure, refineries, war funds, smuggling ports, hidden weapons, bunkers under civilian farms, precision laser strikes, no loud explosions, just heat, fire, and obliteration. Within 3 minutes, Velish Prime lost 80% of its military value. The population screamed not out of pain, but confusion they couldn't understand. Why didn't the humans negotiate? Why didn't they send demands? Why didn't they even speak? Because Earth had made up its mind. The turning point galactic fear sets in distant systems. Governments began to panic. The Dravok declared neutrality. The Kalari offered tribute. The minor races locked their borders. Everyone remembered how the war started, but now they understood. Something terrifying. The humans were no longer fighting to survive. They were fighting to punish. Broadcast from Earth, the only message. Finally, Earth responded. A simple broadcast. One image. Commander Darius, standing in his torn, burned fleet uniform. Behind him, the flag of Earth and a burning star system. He spoke calmly. You gave us no choice. You turned on us mid-war. You left our soldiers to die. You bombed our colonies. And then you told us to beg. Now, you will learn this lesson. Humanity begs for nothing. And we never forget betrayal. A lone Cerulean survivor wandered through the rubble of their former capital. He looked up to see a human drone. Hovering silently overhead, it didn't fire. It simply projected a short message in glowing red letters. We're not done yet. The Wrath fleet was winning. One by one, the betrayer worlds fell. The Varnak were in retreat. The Ceruleans were scattered. Earth ships struck with silence and precision. Entire military bases vanished without warning. Enemy fleets crumbled. Communications were cut. Surrender came too late because humanity wasn't listening. But the most dangerous enemy wasn't. Out in the stars, it was closer. Hidden, watching, waiting inside Earth's walls. Commander Darius stood in the center of the HSS Valor's war room, surrounded by mission logs and fleet updates. His face was worn, his eyes sharp. Arya handed him a new report. The list of destroyed Cerulean supply stations was growing, but something bothered him. They knew we were coming to Velish Prime, he said quietly. Arya looked up. You think the Ceruleans got intel? No. I think someone gave it to them. Darius turned to the hologram of Earth's strategic network. A red dot blinked near Titan Command, the Wrath Fleet's forward operations base. Unauthorized data transfers. Too small to notice in normal scans, but now they weren't normal times. Arya, he said, voice cold. Bring in Dr. Wren. 10 minutes later, Dr. Ellen Wren stood beside him, studying the data logs. Her face went pale as she zoomed in on the encryption codes. These weren't cracked by enemies, she said. They're Earth codes. Clearance level 6 or higher. Darius didn't blink. Then we have a traitor. Arya looked between them. On board the Valar, no, Ren said. Higher. Someone with access to the Wrath Fleet's movements. Someone trusted. A long silence fell over the room. Then Darius spoke. Find them. Across Earth's solar systems, every signal, transmission, and login was scanned. Firewalls turned. Inward, data ghosts were chased. Patterns uncovered. Took 5 hours, and when the AI found it, everyone froze. The traitor wasn't just a commander. It was Admiral Reese Calder and second in command of Earth's orbital defense grid. A war hero, decorated, trusted, and a man who 10 years ago attended a secret diplomatic meeting with the Varnic, a meeting Commander Darius had once seen in a corrupted video file. One of the men laughing while discussing Earth's eventual removal from the galactic scene. Now they knew he had never left that table. Darius didn't speak. He didn't shout. He sent one order, Admiral Calderon. Bring him in alive if possible. But Calderon was already gone. By the time ground teams stormed his tower on the Earth-Luna relay, the Admiral's shuttle was missing. Logs erased. Personal. Quarters burned. He had run. Or worse, he was preparing something. Hours passed. Fear grew. The Wrath Fleet continued its advance, but now Earth's commanders looked over their shoulders. Darius issued silent protocols. Code Veil. Full internal lock on all high-level commands. No one trusted anyone. Then came the second betrayal, at 020 Terran time. The Earth colony Largo Station, orbiting the gas giant Ymir, was destroyed. Not by an alien fleet, but by a Terran. Shipped the HSS Glory, once thought lost during the early Grox War, it had been captured, modified, and now returned. With human hands at its controls, they fired on Largo's core reactor. No warning. No messages. Over 15,000 civilians killed. Darius stared at the screen as the footage played. No expression. No rage. Just silence. Dr. Wren whispered. They've been building this betrayal for years. He nodded. They didn't just turn on. Us in space, he said. They infected us from within. The Wrath Fleet rerouted. The Shadow Corps Earth's Black Ops unit was activated for the first time in decades. Across the solar network, quiet arrests were made. Files uncovered. Hidden messages pulled from erased drives, what they found stunned even the Iron Command. There was a network, a betrayal machine built over decades. Diplomats, officers, engineers, all hidden under perfect loyalty records. All working quietly. To soften Earth's defenses, to delay the Wrath Fleet's creation, to stop retaliation once betrayal came. And the worst part? Some of them were still out there, watching, planning, waiting. Back on the HSS Valor, Darius met with his officers. This isn't just war anymore, he said. This is infection. Rot. They didn't want to destroy Earth with fleets, they wanted to bleed it from the inside. Arya asked the question no one wanted to say aloud. Can we win if we're fighting ourselves? Darius looked at her. We're not fighting ourselves, he said. We're cleaning house. When we're done, no one will ever dare betray us again. Orders were sent. New verification protocols deployed. The Wrath Fleet's AI was isolated. Internal scans began on every ship. Loyalty confirmed the hard way. But Darius didn't stop there. He sent a message into the stars. No encryption. No signature. Just 5 words on an open channel. We know. We are coming. 3 hours later, the Glory was found hidden in an asteroid field near the Elene Drift. It didn't surrender. Fired. The Wrath Fleet responded. A silent operation. 5 ships. No broadcasts. When the smoke cleared, the asteroid field was gone, so was the Glory. The AI recorded no survivors back on Earth. People slept a little easier that night, but only a little in his private log. Darius wrote one line before powering down his console. Betrayal does not end with battle. Ends when there is no one left to carry the knife. The galaxy would remember Earth's rage. Now they would learn Earth's discipline. The stars were quiet, but not peaceful. Ships floated in silence above a ruined moon. Beneath them, a graveyard stretched across the surface. Twisted metal, broken armor, wrecked cities, turned to ash. It was once Farside Outpost, a proud Terran. stationed near the cerulean border. Now nothing moved, except one man. Commander Darius stepped onto the cracked stone, helmet sealed, dust rising around his boots. His crew stayed behind. He had come alone by choice. He needed to see it for himself. Betrayal had happened here. 1 month ago, this outpost sent a distress call. The Wrath fleet tried to answer, but it was already too late. The signal had been a trap. Inside the main command tower, traitors had sabotaged the station's defenses, opened the gates, and let cerulean assassins inside. Thousands of humans died. Before the fleet arrived, the walls still held the blast marks. The bones were still being counted, but the part that haunted Darius most. The betrayal came from the station's own commander, Captain Joran Thale, decorated Terran officer, trusted, trained. A man Darius had once fought beside. Joran had sent the false signal. He had opened the doors, and then he vanished. No body. No transmission, just silence. Darius walked past burned consoles, melted guns, shattered helmets. He stood at the edge of what was once the operations deck and looked up at the stars. This was the price of trust, the price of betrayal. His comes buzzed. Arya's voice came through. Commander, incoming message from Admiral Hale. High priority. Patch it. A moment of static, then the Iron Ghost herself appeared on his visor screen. We found him, she said. Darius turned. Joran? Hale nodded once. He's alive, hiding in the Valox dust fields, protected by a cerulean rogue fleet, and several Exteron defectors. It's not just surviving, he's building something, a new group. A neutral force he calls the Divide, claims he wants to stop the war. Darius's jaw tightened. After everything he's done, he talks. Peace. Hale's eyes were steel. He has hostages, Darius. Over 200 civilians, engineers, medics, some taken from the colony at Vega 3. He's trying to buy time, wants to send a message to Earth. Darius said nothing. Hale continued. I want him alive, if possible. But if he resists, you know what to do? The screen blinked out. 10 hours later, Valox dust fields. The HSS. Valor approached slowly. The Valox fields were like a sea of brown mist, endless, drifting clouds of magnetic particles and broken asteroid fragments. Radar was useless here. Visibility? Less than 100 meters? But Darius didn't need eyes. He had something better. Shadow drones drifted ahead of the Valor, scanning silently, feeding live data into the main display. They're hidden inside. Split asteroid, built from pieces of stolen ships, was the Divide base. A twisted, ugly thing held together with desperation and pride. And in its center, Joran Thle Darius gave the order. No strike yet. We go in. Direct Arya turned. Sir, what if it's another trap? Then we spring it. Landing platform Divide base. Joran Thale stood tall as Darius approached, both men surrounded by armed guards. Thale was older now, with a graying beard and tired eyes. He wore no arm, just a black coat and a neutral badge. You, actually, came, Joran said. You called. Darius answered. The two men stood inches apart. We bled together once, Thale said quietly. Remember the siege of Callan Prime? You pulled me out of a burning bunker? Darius didn't blink. And now you burn bunkers for the enemy. Joran sighed. It's not that simple. It is. I didn't want war, Joran said, voice rising. I saw what Earth was becoming. A machine for revenge. The Wrath fleet isn't justice. Darius, it's fury. It's madness. The galaxy fears us now. They should. Good. No, Joran said, stepping closer. They shouldn't fear humanity. They should trust it. That's the future I'm building. You built this future, Darius growled. With your betrayal. With our dead. Joran went quiet. For a moment, both men stood frozen. Past and present crashing together. Then the alert rang. Red lights flashed across the Divide base. Terran ships inbound. Someone shouted, Stealth class, they found us. Darius stared at Joran. I didn't call them, he said quickly. Didn't have to, Darius replied. You broadcast your location the second you took hostages. You chose this. Sirens wailed. Defectors ran to ships. Turrets unfolded. But the Wrath fleet wasn't here to talk. They were here to end it. 15 minutes later, outer base firestorm missiles cut through the clouds. Drones swarmed the base's exterior defenses. The HSS Black Winter rained precision cannon fire onto the stolen ships Joran had welded to the rocks. Explosions lit the fog in blue and gold. Inside the main chamber, Darius moved fast, weapon drawn, flanked by Wrath guards. Joran shouted over the chaos, "Don't do this." These people came here for peace. Darius didn't stop. Then they should have stayed home, gunfire echoed. Smoke filled the halls. Room by room, the divide base fell. Final stand control room. Darius cornered Joran in the command center. The man held a weapon but didn't aim. You're going to shoot me? Joran asked, almost calm. No, Darius said. I'm going to let history judge you. Then Arya's voice crackled in his ear. Sir, we found the hostages. All safe. No civilian deaths. Darius exhaled. Small mercy. He turned back too. Joran, put him in chains. Joran looked around as the guards approached. You still don't understand, do you? This war will never end. Not with fire, not with fury. It ends when someone stops fighting. Darius walked away. Without looking back, he answered, Then it won't be you. Hours later, HSS Valor, en route to Earth Grin, was locked in a high-security chamber under full neural surveillance. He said nothing on the journey. It's not a word. But he watched. Watched the crew move with unity. Watched the fleet glide through the stars. He saw a human race that had survived betrayal and become something different, maybe colder, maybe stronger, in the war room. Darius stood with Arya and Ren. This war is almost over, Arya said. Ren nodded. But what comes after? Darius looked out the window. We rebuild, he said. Will they let us? Arya asked. Darius's eyes didn't move. They don't have a choice. Final image. Earth orbit. The Wrath fleet gathered above Earth. Dozens of ships, silent, patient. And behind them, a message etched into the stars with ion trails. Betrayal has a price. The galaxy was no longer watching Earth. The galaxy was watching out for Earth. After the betrayal, after the silence, after the Wrath fleet, fear spread like wildfire. Entire systems turned dark when human ships entered orbit.
Alliances once
strong collapsed without a word. Treaties meant nothing. Promises meant less. Still the humans moved, silent, precise, unstoppable. This wasn't revenge. It was a reminder. Above the shattered ruins of Cerulean Prime, the sky burned gold and red. Once the proud heart of a galactic empire, now just glowing debris, its fleet gone, its command centers wiped clean, its leaders scattered or dead. In orbit, the HSS Judicator floated alone, unmoving, massive. Inside, Commander Darius stared at the screen, not smiling, not angry, just watching. He had seen dozens of systems fall. He had watched traitors cry for peace. But this moment, this silence after. Justice felt different. It felt ... finished. Arya entered the room. The last enemy resistance collapsed. No more active fleets. We've confirmed. It's done. Darius didn't speak. Not yet. Back on Earth, the people cheered. Newsfeeds showed footage of the last Wrath strikes clean. Exact, deadly. No unnecessary destruction. No cruelty. Just the harsh weight of betrayal answered in full. Admiral Hale stood before the United Earth Command. Her voice rang sharp. The war is over. The backstabbers are broken. The message is sent. Humanity stands alone now, and we will never bow again. Some called for peace talks. Others called for rebuilding. But most stayed silent. Because they knew this peace was not kindness. It was earned. In the outer colonies, people raised flags again. Colonists returned to farms and factories. Veterans buried their dead. Children learned a new version of history. one that didn't. Begin with humanity begged, but with humanity was betrayed and fought back harder than anyone expected. In the shadows of a dying system, the last Cerulean Council gathered. 6 survivors, frail, bitter, their cities lost. Their legions turned to dust. They played the final human message again. They had watched it 100 times. Commander Darius, blood on his face, his voice like iron. You taught us trust was weakness, so we learned strength. You showed us peace was a lie, so we gave you silence. Now, you fear us, but it's too late. One Cerulean elder whispered, we never should have betrayed them. Another whispered back, we should have feared them from the beginning. Back on the HSS Valor, Darius watched the stars pass. Arya entered again. Final report. Varnak surrenders unconditionally. Grok's remnants wiped out. Divide defectors. In custody, all fleets accounted for. Ren followed behind. The fleet awaits your orders. Darius didn't move.
Danny said the order. Stand down the Wrath fleet.
Both women looked at each other. Arya asked carefully. You sure? He nodded. The message is written in the stars. No one will forget it. They walked out, and for the first time in months, Darius sat down. He took off his gloves. His hands shook, not from fear, from what they had become. The Wrath fleet returned to Earth orbit. Each ship landed silently. Each soldier disembarked without fanfare. There were no parades, no speeches, just long looks, quiet prayers, and an understanding that the war was over. But something new had begun. 3 months later, a Cerulean delegation requested a meeting. They offered gifts, regrets, peace. Admiral Hale met them with her steel gaze. Gifts, she said, only one thing. We don't need peace. We've already won. The Galactic Council met again. But this time, no one interrupted when Earth's ambassador stood. No one rolled their eyes. No one asked questions, because now they all understood. Earth didn't speak for permission. Earth didn't wait for approval. Earth acted. When it did, the stars changed. In schools across the galaxy, students studied the Betrayal War. They watched clips of the Wrath fleet cutting through enemy lines. They read the logs of the HSS Valor. They memorized the names of the fallen. And in every history book, one lesson was written in bold. You do not betray humanity. Not once, not ever. In a small garden outside Terran Command, Darius walked alone. The war was over. But the weight remained. He sat under a tree planted after the siege of Grok's Point 7, the place where the betrayal had first shown its fangs. He closed his eyes. He didn't see enemies. He saw faces, friends, lost ones. But he also saw Earth still standing, whispered to no one. We never wanted this war. Then he opened his eyes, but we finished it. Final shot. A view of Earth from orbit, planet glowing blue beneath the stars. Above it, one last ship drifting silently, the HSS Revenant. Its engines dark, its weapons sealed. A message blinks across its hull in red light. We remember, we endure, we are human.